Hello and welcome to the 21 Days Face Your Fears online challenge. I am Bristena Mantu, transformation facilitator, energy therapist and writer, and my mission is to help people heal their past in order to be able to live the life of their bliss. I'm super excited to be your host on your personal growth journey from fearlessness and empowerment and the power of community. Today I have a very special guest, Amar Prem. Hello Amar.
Hello, Bristena.
Amar Prem serves his clients and community as a trainer, therapist, and teacher. He applies complementary disciplines of personal training, coaching, yoga, massage therapist, nutrition, and meditation. Since childhood, he's been fascinated by self development systems, the human conditions, and the energetic scope of the body, mind, and breath. His work is the answering of a deep inner calling and the coming together of all the things that had served him and grown him on his own path. Amar's mission is supporting people in uplifting their bodies, minds, and spirits and becoming the best versions of themselves by pursuing health and happiness. Welcome, Amar, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for.
I forgot to mention the fact that he's the wittiest Kundalini Yoga teacher training that I've ever encountered in my life.
Thank you very much. It just kind of oozes out of me. I can't help myself.
Alright, so let's get started with the power question just to warm up a little bit. What was the biggest fear you ever overcame and how did you do it?
Okay, what was the biggest fear that I've ever overcome, and how did I do it?
Yes.
Well, I guess I could give you several answers depending on the context and which fear you're talking about. A physical fear, a professional fear, an emotional fear. So I'm just going to pick the one that's probably the most relevant to your audience. Um, and also based on the description that you just gave of me. The biggest fear that I remember overcoming was when I was 18 years old and I just qualified as a personal trainer from the Personal Training Academy. And I was accepted into an apprenticeship with a wonderful man called Dax Moy in his personal training studio. And I remember being terrified, um, well, quite anxious. I wouldn't say terrified, that's a very strong word. But I just received my first client, and they were well paying, they were professional, they were intelligent, and I had all my systems in place, I had all my program, I was fully prepared on the intellectual and professional front, but I couldn't help but feel this kind of tremor, this excitement, but also fear. I don't know if you want to call it that, but I was just so eager to do a good job, but I was also scared that I wasn't going to do a good enough job.
Mm.
Um, so that was an initiation that I just had to overcome, and through the right amount of mental and emotional preparation, and then just doing it and giving it your best. You realize that a lot of fears are just simply illusions created inside your own invisible reality.
Mm.
And it ended up being a wonderful session, and since then I've been really enjoying it, and you just have to do it, and then all of a sudden fears evaporate.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever considered where in your past this fear of not being good enough, not performing well enough is coming from?
Where it comes from, I don't want to get too controversial or too hocus pocus, but I reckon it must come from our conditioning and our education, and perhaps also the media, which is conditioning. But we're always comparing ourselves to this kind of invisible, kind of perfect standard, which doesn't really exist. And maybe we like to think that we want to be better than our contemporaries or our competition, whatever that means. So we have a high standard of ourselves because, we've been trained to pass tests we've been trained to prove our worth, usually through a monetary value. And when someone's paying you good money to do something great, you don't want to let them down. So the fear of not being good enough is, am I worth what I'm giving? So anyway, blah blah blah. Uh, the fear of not being good enough, I think, is a very common trait that we all
Absolutely.
suffer from. Whether you're a doctor, whether you're a writer, whether you're a trainer, whether you're a healer, I think we all aspire to perfection, which is not really very human because we can only be excellent and we can only improve on our previous performances. So the fear of not being good enough is also an illusion. And all we can do is be our best. And when the attitude is there and when your heartfelt effort is there, then leave the rest to the universe.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, we're all doing our best, whether we're aware of it or not. Is that true?
No, I don't. I don't agree
No?
because a lot of people don't do their best. A lot of people are sleepwalking through life.
That's right as
Um,
well. But
they
from
they
a higher perspective, we're doing our best because that's the best we can do in that given moment. Although it seems that it was such a shitty decision to take.
Well, we could dissect what you've just said, but I don't think I agree with you because
Okay.
a lot of people don't do their best, and they just kind of sleepwalk through life, and they expect things to come their way without effort and without consistency, and they might try their best once or twice, but then they just expect it to be handed to them on a plate. Sorry to be negative.
No, it's
Um,
alright. I totally accept your point. And indeed, for some people, there's much more than they can do, but they're just refuse to and expect things to happen by themselves, as you're saying.
People can genuinely try their best, but usually their best is not their best, and that's why you have people like coaches, personal trainers,
Yeah, yeah.
teachers, so that you can make your best better.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's why we're saying we're helping people become a better version of themselves, to help them
Exactly.
transition from the smallest into the greatest version that they can embody in this lifetime.
I
Okay.
think it's a wonderful job that we have, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely adore it, and whenever I see transformation in people, it just fills my heart with utmost joy and bliss to see that it's possible.
Me
Okay,
too.
so getting back to fear of not being good enough, this has also been my number one fear, and I feel like I've made progress in this respect. I realized that it leads to procrastination, also linked to fear of failure, and therefore we are setting ourselves up for this high, almost impossible standards that we inevitably fail at because they're too high up.
Mm.
What can you say about that?
Well, what you just said there is interesting because I think a lot of intelligent people suffer from this exact condition that we just described. And there's a funny little thing. I don't remember who told me, but I have a procrastinator perfectionist complex. I will be awesome one day. So the putting off and the sort of high standards and the mental struggle that talented people face can often be paralyzing, crippling, and can lead to depression, can lead
Yeah.
to the stagnation of creativity. And actually, something I'm still learning, you only get paid for done. I mean, paid is a very sort of materialistic term to use, but you know, you're always going to think you can do better. You're always going to think, oh, I should have said that. And I've worked with a lot of actors and creative people, and their talent and their intelligence often creates problems that don't exist for people who just recklessly and unconsciously just forge ahead. So my mother once told me that In German, she said, intelligence makes shy. So you have to overcome that because you just have to believe that your heart and your speech and your mind work together, and that eventually it's like a coal, it turns into diamond. With enough time, with enough experience, with enough pressure, you will become better and better. But start, and yeah, that's all I really have to say. I could bang on, but I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, I love the points that you made, and so much of it I resonate with. I've encountered with my high creativity. It led me to moments of depression where I was so stuck, and I wasn't doing anything because
Mm,
I was just lost in my mental, not good enough, not capable enough. Why am I doing? Why am I not doing anything? And ended up not doing anything. But it's just
mm.
a matter of a mind shift set. Like just apply yourself and just do it. That's why
Yes,
Nike says just do it. I think
just
that's
do it.
the best thing that we can tell ourselves. Just do it and stop thinking.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to sort of use a mantra that has been used by the corporation of Nike, just do it. It works. They spent millions of pounds on their propaganda, and we spend a lot of time in the brain, mentally masturbating, and not really getting anywhere. So yeah, just do it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
just do it. Have a strategy. Think about what you're going to do, and then just do it.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, and then forget what your inner critic is telling you, because the number one question I ask myself is, when is enough going to be enough? So if I'm never good enough, but when is enough gonna be enough? It's only me who decides. It's only me who's judging myself based on external judgments I've received in my past and then I've internalized.
Yes, yes. I mean, I completely agree with you. I suffer from the same condition. And if we're all being honest with ourselves, I think we all do. And a really amazing friend and client of mine, he learnt this when he was in drama school. And he keeps reminding me and he keeps reminding himself. And eternally, every day we have to keep reminding ourselves. That's why we do sadhana, the spiritual practice, is you are enough.
You
Full
are
stop, capital
enough.
letters.
I love that. Yes.
Because, no matter how many books or, information systems you want to imbibe and consume, you were born naked and you will die naked, and you hopefully will live as naked as possible and be raw and be you. So just remember that you're enough, and your giving and your sharing is 100 times greater than just uh, uh, so get out there, do your thing, and critics will exist. Always
Always.
ignore them. Don't read the newspaper.
Yeah, absolutely. I just listened to an interview with one of my favorite business coaches and magical people here. Her name is Caroline Elliott, and I'm gonna have her in my expert panel soon. She was saying that there are gonna be three kinds of people when you put yourself out there. People that will absolutely hate everything you say and they're gonna criticize everything, they're gonna try to put you down. The second type of people, there'll be those people that will only accept you only if we tweak here and there, if we're gonna edit something just to please them, right?
Mm,
And the third category is the people who's gonna love everything you do and everything you say. And for people who want to have success in whatever they do, especially for us as coaches and inspirational speakers, we only are interested in those people that are gonna love us, because
yeah,
that's who we're speaking to.
yeah.
And the critics are always gonna be there. Just
Perfectly put. You've got the trinity of feedback based on the positive, the neutral, and the negative. And
yes.
in our mind, in our functional mind, in terms of yoga, we've got those three minds: neutral, positive, and negative. And hopefully, we can maintain an unwavering self-expression that is completely authentic, regardless of the failure and the successes, the negative and the positive. And, as they say, haters gonna hate. And, you just got to find your tribe, know yourself, and love them hard. So,
Absolutely.
just keep going.
I love your attitude. And of course, feedback is great, especially if it's constructive criticism. We can learn so much from people telling us, maybe here you could do it a little bit like this and be like that. But it's
Yeah,
still up to us whether we decide to implement that advice or not.
of course, of course. And at the end of the day, look, you close your eyes and you realize that really you're the only one that exists. And we're sharing this world theater, trying our best to make our subjective thoughts and, visions, out there into the world. Um, so as long as you believe what you're doing and what you're saying, then you are enough. You can only do your best, communicate and to work to the to your most genuine and best capacity, and then everything else is meaningless because closing your eyes, how does this feel? Is what I'm about to say coming from my heart? Have I passed it through my mind? Okay, now speak. And we shouldn't really be too paranoid because, you know, in such an age of ridiculousness and just negativity, you've got people, posting all sorts of rubbish, and sharing all sorts of horrible stuff. So, if you're doing positive work on the planet, just go for it. Like that what you're doing is good, and as long as you know and feel that, then just
Unleash the beast.
unleash the beast. Yeah, one could say unleash the beast, unleash the
The
angel,
angel.
unleash the human.
Yes. All in
Yeah,
one.
we like to dance with words, but you are enough.
You are enough, absolutely. And from an energetic point of view, what I've realized recently, although I knew it for a long time on an intellectual level, but actually to experience the fact that it's only the vibration that I put myself in. If I consider myself to be worthy, if I consider myself to be beautiful and good enough, I'm going to put out this vibration around me and this vibe, and people will react to that. People will sense that, and they will meet you at that level. If you emanate confidence, people will feel that and they will believe you, they will trust you.
Mm.
If not, they feel there's something that's not right with you, and of course they're gonna respond to that. They're not gonna have confidence in you as well. So it's only up to us how we relate to ourselves and how we judge ourselves and
Of
also
course,
appreciate ourselves.
of course, of course. What you're saying reminds me of a Whitney Houston song, "The Greatest Love of All."
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so just like we all know it. I mean, we're going around and around in circles in some ways. So yeah, you love yourself, believe in yourself. Um, have the best of intentions for yourself and everyone else, and just be okay with the struggle. Be okay with the negative self-talk. It's all part of the human experience. All this new age positive thinking, which actually is just a cloak to disguise a cesspit of negativity. It's okay to be negative as well. We don't have to be these love and light beings that only positively affirm themselves. Negativity is a very powerful tool, and we shouldn't be like hoodwinked into believing that we always have to be positive. So just be real.
Yeah, just be
Satnam.
real. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that because in our negative side, in our negative expression, sometimes so much life force is blocked, and by going in the shadow and working with it and bringing it to the light, so much life force can be unleashed, and so much rawness comes
I
from
mean,
that place.
like right here, you've got light and shadow. Light and shadow. How would you know one or the other if you didn't have both?
Absolutely. We still live in a universe of duality. We haven't transcended into non duality yet, so we're going to work with both polarities.
Well, that whatever you just said is a wonderful concept. But we sleep, we wake, the night, the day, positive, the negative, hungry, not hungry. So as far as I'm concerned, that non-duality where everyone talks about um, is a lovely idea. I think non-duality on a more realistic and practical understanding is neutrality.
Mm.
So we're always swimming in the ocean of duality and up and down, blah, blah, blah. But, to kind of have a neutral middle way where you are the observer or you are, just able to see both sides, um, you know, unity consciousness, non duality, and all these other philosophical terms which are spouted every single day. Um, let's become real and practical rather than too sort of idealistic. You know. So yeah, I'm sorry. I like to play devil's
Yeah,
advocate.
yeah, I love that. It's very constructive indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to give you my version. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right.
Yeah. Okay, so for people who like this idea of neutrality, but we live in this body and we have a human subjective experience, how would you recommend that we access this neutral point in our lives?
How do we access neutrality in the body and mind practically in our lives?
Yes.
Live a balanced lifestyle. Um, use both negative and positive. Use both resistance and discipline and struggle and pleasure and joy and spontaneity. Use the dance between the two, because then you will find, like a weighing scale, you
Mm.
will find the neutral point, and so we have these two sides of our body, we have these two lobes of our brain, we've got two eyes, two nostrils, we've got two ears, we've got pairs. So we are in a vessel that works in pairs. The parasympathetic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, um, blah blah, oh, whatever. So we need to practically balance ourselves.
Yeah.
You can try to avoid exercise or effort or doing training, but then you will never be able to rest because you won't be able to relax. Um, you can fast all you want and try and live on green juices and pulses, but if you're gonna just not feed yourself, then you're gonna starve. So I'm just giving you hundreds, like so many examples,
Yeah.
but you have to live a balanced life and you have to use both sides and then hopefully weigh them both up. And just like a chessboard, there's black and white, and so you have to dance between the black and the white.
Beautiful. Thank you
I don't
very
even
much
know
for
what I'm
that.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Or not.
or not.
Depends. Yeah. It's so
Live a
relative.
balanced life. Live a balanced life and meditate and exercise. Eat well, but don't worry if you eat some chocolate sometimes. Get up early in the morning. Uh, Align yourself to nature's cycles and just be as harmonious as possible. But you know, don't be paranoid if you sometimes do naughty things as well.
Yeah. All right. So another question is, what is a practical tip or strategy that you use when you help yourself or others overcome or face their fears? So the people who are watching this interview, what practical tip will they get from you in relation to fearlessness?
A practical tip to becoming fearless.
Yes.
Okay, just one.
One, if you'd like to share more, you're welcome to.
Okay, I want to be as practical as possible, so it doesn't matter if right now a banker or a mystic is listening to me.
Yes, I love that.
Um, right, the universal field of becoming practically fearless. I would say use the power of the word, speech, mantra, affirmation. Now, it doesn't matter if you're not saying fearless in Sanskrit or in Tibetan. You can just say it or declare it in English. Use your mind, use your speech, use your heart. These are like very powerful, it's a very powerful system of retraining the mind and reminding yourself um, of, say, the spell or the word that you want to invoke or evoke. So, affirmations and mantras work very powerfully to train the mind and the emotions into believing the spell that you're casting. Uh, so yeah, say I want to be fearless. Like you can say I am fearless. You can say I am self-expressed or fear it does shouldn't even register in your vocabulary. And if you feel the fear, feel into it. Meditate into it. It's no point just being like a headless chicken who can hear the howl of a wolf. Be like, what's going on here? Why am I feeling or experiencing fear? What is fear? Is it, as the Spartan said in 300, a Spartan doesn't feel fear, he just experiences a heightened sense of things. So if you're shaking, if you're nervous, breathe. If your self-sensory system is experiencing the phenomena of anxiety or fear, go into it, breathe into it, you know, understand it, and then overcome it, and then use it. So fear is your friend because it's like a spidey sense. It's like Spider-Man, it's like the tingles you get to be like, oh, resistance is there. Oh, this is an opportunity to grow. So there's real fear, i.e., crocodile, lion, snake, survival, and then there's illusionary fear. What will people think? Is this going to be good enough? Do I look pretty enough? Am I wearing a nice dress? So there's different types of fear. So basically, breathe into it, understand it, like use it, and also using the power of the word. So I am fearless, I am fearless, I am fearless, and you can just overcome the obstacle.
Thank you very much for that. I love your approach. And
Thank
yeah, we're drawing towards the end of the interview. Thank you very
you.
much for sharing your illuminating knowledge and advice and suggestions and ideas with us.
It's a
And
pleasure.
thank you very much for viewers for watching today's interviews. I hope you've been inspired and you can start applying some of the ideas we've discussed in your daily life. If you found this interview useful, share it on your social media. Let your friends know that you're participating in this amazing online challenge for fearless warriors. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Journey to Bliss, and sign up to my newsletter on the link below to get your free Bliss Blueprint, the 3 stages of radical transformation from within. Hope you enjoyed this and see you next time. Bye bye!
Bye.